Let's look today at some railroad pencils from my collection. Hello everyone. I have said in a previous video that if one wanted to do an in-depth study, a cultural history of a place or an industry, one could do so simply by collecting pencils from that place or pencils related to that industry. And here we have an example of that. When I am out and about at the flea markets or yard sales or the thrift shops, looking at pencils whenever I find them, there are certain types of pencils that I am always on the lookout for. Certainly any kind of old pencil is going to grab my attention, a vintage or antique pencil, something unique like that. But there are other industry-related pencils. If I find pencils related to a place where I have lived or where I currently live, so geographical or related to a church or a religious organization, I tend to collect those. But one of the major subsets of pencils that I have been on the hunt for is railroad pencils, and that is a popular I guess historical collectors niche, as it were. People collecting things related to the railroads, whether that's railroad lanterns or miniature railroad cars and photographs and postcards related to that. But you will find a surprising number of pencils related to the railroads of yesteryear because they were a very large industry. So let's look today just at some of the railroad pencils I have come across in various places over the years, some of them unsharpened, as we see with this Railway Express Agency number 2 pencil, round, medium green, probably cedar pencil. I'm guessing nearly all of these are, if not all of them. Doesn't specify a location, like this one, which says Rock Island Lines. It's a number 1 pencil, like the previous one here, round, no ferrule, no cap, simple pencil. Put the ones up there that I've already looked at. Okay, what do we have here? Southern Railway Company, number 3 pencil. And this one has a paper or cardboard ferrule, so that likely dates this to the early 1940s war years. And hopefully you can see the hand-whittled point. Standard yellow pencil. This one's a hex. And again, the ferrule is unique because it has a ferrule, unlike the other two, and because it's a paper ferrule. This one looks like it started to be sharpened at both ends. Missouri Pacific Lines in number 1 pencil, also uncapped. I assume it did not have a ferrule on it. Maybe that's why it's chewed up. Maybe it did have a ferrule. But I think maybe they just stuck that in a sharpener and then changed their minds and sharpened it the correct way. It says bonded here. I was hoping some of these might have some indicator of the manufacturer. Bonded was a word used by multiple manufacturers and still is today. So that doesn't tell me much about the manufacturer, but Missouri Pacific. This one was also sharpened at both ends, it appears. Although, okay, I was thinking that might have been a eraser at this end, but it's graphite. And this one, Pennsylvania Railroad. I don't know if you are able to see that. Pennsylvania Railroad appears to be graded as a number 2. It's hard to make out. Hopefully you will be able to see that. Another round, another untipped, uncapped, no eraser pencil. Let's see. Okay, here's one where we do know the manufacturer. I remember when I found these in the thrift shop, I found a box of them. I believe there were maybe 10 in the box. It wasn't a full dozen, but 9 or 10. So we have the Chesapeake and Ohio Rail Yard and the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. They can work safely. These are Eagle. That's an old Eagle emblem. Eagle Comfort 2.5 is the grading there, and a very old looking brass ferrule. It's a soft hex, which I assume is what the Comfort refers to. It's a not sharp on the corners type of hex. So we know here the manufacturer, and that's really cool that they have the, when you, presumably you could buy Eagle Comforts that weren't designed for any industry. So if you bought it just at the office supply store, it would say this, but on the reverse side, the railroad info. Another one similar, Chesapeake and Ohio Railway, very shiny brass ferrule. And this one we also know the manufacturer, Hexaround from Eberhard Faber. It's a number 2 pencil. Hexaround, another, like the Comfort, the name signifies the shape of the pencil. It's a hex with the corners rounded off to make writing a more pleasant experience. So Chesapeake and Ohio. Union Pacific. This one has a eraser cap on it that is so hard and crusty. I'm afraid I'll do further damage to the pencil if I try to remove it. Union Pacific Railroad, number 2 pencil. I'm going to assume there is no ferrule under this cap, so it came uncapped, but I could be wrong. There might be a ferrule under there. One day I'll get the courage up to take that off. There's something etched into it there. I think it just says bonded lead. So no idea the manufacturer on that one. Couple of repeats here for the C&O and B&O, Chesapeake and Ohio. What else? There's another repeat and another. So many of those, and they look so nice. Even the yellow is a really deep, like a free-range egg yolk. Orange yellow. Oh, there's another Union Pacific number 1 with no, is that the same? So yeah, one's a number 1, one's a number 2, and the number 1 shows that it did not have a ferrule, so that's probably the case. What do we have here? Missouri Pacific Lines. I think this may have been sent to me by my good friend Colin. So if you're out there, Colin, he did some artwork for my channel early on. I need to resurrect that pencil artwork. I think this came in a batch from Colin. Number 3, kind of a wood, natural wood, but it's a stain on it to give it that darker color. Number 3, no idea who made that one. I think this was another Pennsylvania, if I remember. No. Union Pacific, number 3. And this one made as a left-handed orientation because the name is clear here at this end that you would normally sharpen if you're right-handed. So left-handed Union Pacific, also a natural wood, stained. This one has a warped look to it and gosh, I'm not even seeing any writing on this. How did I know it was a railroad? Okay. I can barely see it imprinted there. Chicago Great Western Railroad. Made in USA. Looking for a grade on there. There we are, number 2. So Chicago Great Western. May have had a ferrule that's ripped off, but I doubt it. Another round. This one's kind of a darker stain, or either a dark brown or a black that's faded. Another Baltimore and Ohio. Looks like this one might have been a misprint or something. There's some texture etched on this side that may have been covering a misprint of some sort. This one kind of looks a little bit warped also. Pennsylvania Railroad. Work and Safety, number 3 pencil. No ferrule on that. Another hex around. I don't know if the other ones were number 1 pencils. I don't remember. I don't think so. They can work safely. Missouri Pacific lines. And maybe this came from Colin. I'm not certain. Colin, if you remember. I'll take credit for it anyway, buddy. This one's kind of been through it a little bit. Chesapeake and Ohio. All right. Making this a long video. For those of you who love pencils or love railroads or both, this is your video. Illinois Terminal R.R. Company, Railroad Company, Illinois Terminal. Another left-hander there. This one's sharpened for a left-hander, but designed for a right-hander. Missouri Pacific. Chessie System. Number 1 pencil. Think work safely. Same tagline as in the Chesapeake and Ohio older pencils. Number 1 grade. Okay. Pennsylvania Railroad, number 1. Stuck in a sharpener improperly and then corrected. Round, either dark brown or black, I can't tell. And another Missouri Pacific. Don't know how I ended up with so many of those. The C&O and B&O Railroad pencils make sense for my location in Ohio, but a lot of Missouri. And then I guess the centerpiece here, we have an entire set, and I'm really tempted to break up the set and sharpen one of these and try it. Certified lead-free lacquer, 1 dozen quality writing pencils, and these are from the Blackfeet Indian Writing Company, Blackfeet Industrial Park, Browning, Montana. So the Blackfeet Indian Writing Company produced these for Chicago Northwest, or I'm not sure. Anybody who knows railroads, I didn't research that ahead of time, so I'm not certain. There's a full dozen of these, kind of a wine red or a mahogany, somewhere between those 2 colors. The ferrule is interesting because it's glued on or just pushed onto the pencil. It's not crimped, but it is crimped at the eraser end. The Blackfeet Indian Company was established on the reservation in Montana. In the latter half of the 20th century, they were making pencils. They had contracts to supply pencils for not only large corporations like the railroad, but for the U.S. government. They made pens and pencils for the Senate, I believe, and other government agencies. So really cool. These are number 2 pencils in a hex. Like the color. It's almost a metallic, deep wine red. And since I might as well make this video even longer, let's sharpen it. We'll use a long point sharpener. I'm just kind of curious if they were still using cedar at the time this was made. It's probably 1970s, 60s or 70s on this pencil. I don't remember when Blackfeet Indian Writing Company began making pencils. It might have been at the very beginning of the 70s, so that might be about when these were made. And there's no doubt I can smell the cedar. It looks like cedar. There's definitely the smell. I think in another box I have some duplicates of these, so I can still have a full set. So I didn't completely wreck it. I just had to sharpen one and try it out. That's a quality pencil. You can smell the cedar. I don't even have to hold it up to my nose to do that. That's a nice pencil. It's a shame they don't make pencils there any longer. If that machinery still exists, it's not being used to make pencils in Montana. And we lost a good one when Blackfeet Indian Company stopped making pencils. So there you go. There's a look at my collection of railroad pencils. For those of you who collect pencils, those of you who dig history or are a fan of the railroads, and I just dropped my pencil. Maybe you saw something here that you enjoyed. I appreciate you stopping by to watch, and I hope to see you here again next time.